Michael from Amazing FBA. I'm just having a quick chit chat to see that we're actually going live and that it's all working before we plunge into a little bit of content today. Hello. All going well here. 1 second. Managed to throw my temporary studio here. I'm on the road. I managed to throw my temporary studio into disarray by knocking my mic over. Right, let's see what is going on exactly here. So, doesn't look like I'm live on Facebook. Let's see if I'm live on YouTube. Let's see if I'm live on LinkedIn. So today's topic appropriately is about dealing with video as video first culture that we live in. Let me have a look here. Let me just see what's going on here. So in theory, I could be going live right now. Let's see what happens next. Looks like I'm going live on YouTube, which is good. And let's see what's happening on LinkedIn. Looks like I'm also going live there. Okay, let's just see if this is working properly, and then we'll crunch into today's show. LinkedIn doesn't seem to have any sound. This is very entertaining. I'm sure this is terrible to look at for anyone, so forgive the amateurishness. Okay, so it turns out, first hint, LinkedIn seems about 10 seconds behind anyone else, maybe 20. All right, we are live. Let's get this sucker recorded. So okay, let me just get rid of, stop listening to myself. Hey folks, Michael Veazey here, and you may have just seen my live attempts. So I'm really here to talk today about the reality of video first marketing. The internet has become video first in terms of content. Obviously, AI is changing everything by the month, if not by the week. So I'm going to leave AI out of this discussion. By the way, I've just interviewed Max Sinclair from Ecomtent. That interview will be coming out soon. So we are dealing with AI. Rest assured. But today I just wanted to talk about a very practical thing, which is if you're not like me, if you're not necessarily geared 100% to video, although I'm much more geared to video than most people I know, just because I do a lot of video content creation as part of the podcast. So how do you deal with video-based content marketing if you're in e-commerce, or for that matter, if you are a service provider in e-commerce, which obviously is my main focus these days as a consultant? Well, so I've got a few hints for you. Number one, this is a skill set you're going to have to get down. Okay. You don't necessarily personally need to appear on camera if you're not trying to build a personal brand. But I would say that if you are the founder of a company, even if you don't look beautiful, which you may perceive as a necessity, I don't think it is. I think authenticity and connection, the fact that you're there talking about your products with some passion, if you can come across as having passion, that's important. So I think if you can do that, if you can be, you dare to be the face behind your brand, it will really, really help to build customers knowing, liking, and trusting you, which is one of the big branding things that helps to people to, frankly, if you're looking at with a very commercial eye, convert when they end up on your product listing page, if you have an e-commerce direct to consumer site or on your Amazon page. So first of all, recognize it's a skill you or your team are going to have to get down. So start now. It gets better with practice. Number two, keep it as simple as possible. So I've got a setup here. I've got a webcam. Normally at home, I use a digital SLR, so a proper sort of single lens reflex camera for sharper picture and better depth of focus. I'm using a webcam, which is £90. It's a Logitech. I think it's C922 or something. It's about £90, £100, maybe a little bit more now. I'm also using my trusty ATR 2100 X. This is actually an Audiologica. Really nice sound, I think. I love it, but you can use. I've not actually got earbuds in. This is actually a hardwired because I don't trust battery proud things, but you could just use your earbuds and an iPhone or probably an Android or a Google Pixel phone. I don't have personal experience of those, but they work pretty well. And the quality of cameras on even a pretty basic iPhone. I got an iPhone SE because I realized a while ago I was spending a fortune upgrading from phone to phone. The iPhone 11, iPhone 12, 14, whatever it is, will have some pretty good cameras on, and they're getting better all the time. So phone is fine. So that's number two. Don't complicate the tech, right? I have my personal setup. This is not the best setup. Number three, lighting. Lighting is more important than you would think. Now I'm going to reveal the disgusting background here just because this isn't my usual background. I'm actually working in a spare room in a relative's house just because I'm on the road for various reasons. I've got some work to do on a rental house. I've got a 80th birthday. So this is my complicated lighting setup is that on one side, and on the other hand, I've got some windows, very technical. Now, a couple of things to note about lighting. That if you have it overly bright, like if I put this one over here, this is an inside light. So it's what do you call it? It's a filament type light bulb, and so it's a very orange light. You can see that looks pretty bad. So overly focused light is bad, overly colored light is bad. So if I put that out of the way and just pointed at the wall, you can immediately see it looks a bit better. And then on the other side, if I just open the windows, if I open the curtains completely, you'll see you look at that that is now creating a rather violent light on my side. So it looks like I was painting my left side of my face. Now, a webcam doesn't adjust as well as a digital SLR, but assuming you've got an iPhone, it'll probably be in between. But if I move that back, so I'm just going to basically move, not close the curtains, but half close them, that basically does the job. And then if I put the blur back in, which I think it helps with the background, then it looks more professional, right? Number 4 point, which I've kind of touched on before, is audio quality. People worry about visual quality because you can see it. If you got low lighting, by the way, that's going to be bad as well. So always make sure you take care of the lighting. One of those things that people think is about the camera. It's more about the lighting than the camera. Number 4, I guess I should say, is just get a decent professional looking background. If you have a choice, obviously a bed is appearing in the background. If I move my hands, that looks very unprofessional. Didn't have much choice in that. Number 5, audio. Couple of things. Number 1, get a good microphone. It matters. Earbuds are okay. I prefer if you can get a lav mic, that's what lavalier mic, or sometimes called a lapel mic, and put it there. My tip is point it down. They're often quite sensitive, and plug that into your iPhone or Google Pixel phone or whatever it is. That will really, really improve the quality. I find my sort of earbuds, which are Apple original ones, are also particularly quite decent quality. So just experiment with that, but don't be too cheapskate on that. So number 6, audio background. Don't record it somewhere noisy. Obviously, the better the microphone, the more it will pick up only things that are near to it. And number 7, make sure you're close enough to the microphone. So if you're using a microphone, if you speak this close, it's quite good. If you speak a long way away, it sounds not so good. So the closer you get the microphone, the better. And number 8, to deal with that, really, think about being in a hard surface background versus a soft. There's lots and lots and lots of soft furnishings here. So it's a very bad visual background. It's a very good auditory background because it's got carpet down here. There's clothing around here. There's a bed behind me, as you can see. So that's actually ideal for absorbing excess sound. So we don't want knocking around. Number 9, have a plan, some kind of list. You don't need a script, but you do need a list of points you're going to cover. Now, I've just done this off the top of my head because I've done a lot of these, a lot of recording. It's a topic that I can speak to you off the top of my head, but you'll generally find that if you write yourself a little list, you do a better job. And number 10, coming back to point number 1, get started. You're going to be normally quite bad at something when you first start. My old piano teacher, Russian guy, used to say the first blini sticks to the pan. Blini are very delicious Russian pancakes. And so the first 1 or 2 or 3 aren't going to be that great. Like my attempt to get some live streaming out of this has taken about 6 attempts, and there's probably several videos out there of a black screen or me going, what the heck's going on? I'll just delete those. So don't panic about that. When you try something new, you're going to be a bit rubbish the first time. Don't panic. Do it on a small scale, and don't put a load of advertising or let your entire email list know about it before you've got your craft down. But get started, because there's no greater barrier to getting things done than perfectionism. As a natural perfectionist, artistic type, and I've been trained in classical music, which is even worse. So I'm a natural and a trained perfectionist. That's going to be a barrier. I remember the first time I ever did a video, but in marketing back in 2015, and I was so disappointed at how bad I looked on camera. I thought it looked pretty ugly and bad lighting, and so I didn't do it for 2 or 3 more months. And I realized, well, I'm not being employed as a Hollywood actor. This is not about being good looking. It's about or looking good on a camera. It's about providing value. And yeah, you should look as good as you can. And yes, there is a beauty contest on YouTube. Let's be honest about it. But you can still provide a great deal of value, whatever the heck you look like, as long as you have something of value and you have an audience out there that will be interested in that value. It's as simple as that. And video is the medium that everyone is using. So I hope you're willing to plunge in there and get used to using it. The irony is, of course, I will create an audio podcast out of this. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, then good for you. I prefer audio myself as a medium in some ways, but I also consume more and more video because that is the medium of the internet these days. So whichever format you've taken, go away and think on those things. And above all, get started. You'll be bad to start with. You can get good later, but you can't steer a parked car, as they say. Thanks so much for listening. Speak to you soon.